So good afternoon, and welcome, and thank you for inviting me here today. I always find it difficult at this time of the day because it's the last slot of the day, half an hour before you're off to go home or whatever. So hopefully I can add a little bit of interest and excitement for the last 30 minutes of what I think has been quite a good day by all accounts. My name is Simon Ainslie, simon.ainslie at microsoft.com. I recently joined Microsoft, so I came from Nokia. I spent 5.5 years at Nokia, and prior to that I was running the sales business for Deutsche Telekom or T-Mobile in the UK. So my background has traditionally been sort of the telco space and the mobility space, both from a service provider, from a manufacturer, and now latterly a software provider. And Microsoft's strategy very much is very focused around how we push the consumer agenda aggressively. Driven by the fact that actually what we're seeing in the overall IT industry is a real consumerization of IT. We've seen it in many markets, but as consumers now starting to push the envelope and starting to change the behavior in the marketplace, whereas it used to be businesses and industry driving the new technology, now we're finding consumers driving the new technology, and they're the ones that are innovating at a faster rate than industry and business are. So being at the forefront of the consumer market is very important to retain and to continue to retain leadership in the business environment. So, that doesn't seem to work. I might add, it's not a Microsoft pointer. Let me try this. What is clearly happening is the world that we are living in is changing dramatically. I don't need to reiterate this, most of you have lived through many of these changes, but we're seeing a rapid change. Some of these started off slowly and then accelerated and continue to accelerate. And I think the important thing we're seeing now is the trends no longer take 5 years to happen, they happen within 18 months. And the time is getting shorter and shorter. As technology gets faster, as communications get quicker, we're seeing trends manifest themselves far faster. And organizations and companies have to move far faster than they ever were before, have to be more nimble and more in touch with what's going on in the market. From a desktop to tablet, from fixed to mobile, from delayed reported news to instant real-time reports. From cameras that sort of were manual to digital cameras uploaded to the web instantaneously with access to video and imagery. To books, to Kindles, from buying music and videos in store to changing the behavior that you're using on social discovery of media. The world is changing quite dramatically. And things we took for granted in the past have changed. So, in the telco space, the devices that we used to kind of feel familiar with, the phones, the smartphones, are now becoming blurred in terms of what is a mobile device. Telco operators were very comfortable with dealing with the kind of traditional handset manufacturers and the traditional handsets. But when does a phone now become a tablet, and when does a tablet now become a convertible, and when does a convertible become a laptop, and ultimately when does a laptop become a TV? That blending of devices and that blending of technology is going to get more and more invisible to our average users. That it's going to be very hard to distinguish between those different devices, and we'll find that breadth of opportunity across those is going to be very, very different as we go forward. Roughly 360 million smartphones shipped this year. That's the expectation, somewhere in that region. Huge number of people with devices that can access the web. I think somewhere in the region of 65% of people who now go on the web are doing it via a PC or a smartphone. Some 2.1 billion people accessing the internet via a smartphone. So huge change in device usage, which puts a huge amount of pressure on the networks that are carrying that data. So the rapid increase we're seeing in terms of fixed line DSL capability from what was quite acceptable at 2 megabits a second, where now 40 megabits per second should kind of almost be the standard. And 100 megabits per second is common practice in some of our Far Eastern markets. I was recently talking to somebody who was installing the cable capability into London for the Olympics. They've put in a 80 gigabit per second cabling around that to manage the data that's going to happen there. So, we kind of really need to reimagine what the bandwidth is going to be in our networks, and it's only going to continue to increase massively as we go forward. So those changes are also then changing behavior in the marketplace. Social has taken off hugely. 750 million users on Facebook, some 960 million users using social media as a way of communicating. And that drive that's kind of evolved and came through a consumer industry has now kind of ended up back into the marketplace in business. And social as a way of communicating in terms of the business environment is now very much an important part of how businesses need to evolve in that area. What we'll also see is a huge explosion of video. The development of devices, the speed of networks that is coming through will mean that video will become a common format in terms of usage and behavior. There is somewhere in the region of 70% of people are watching video on their mobile devices now, and that's only going to increase as screen resolution, screen size, and connectivity gets better. So the ability to communicate across multiple devices is going to be very critical for the future. And the cloud is underpinning an awful lot of this. So the ability to store information and hold it outside of a fixed device and be able to access it through multiple devices is going to be critical to people's accessibility to data and their desire and want to be able to work from wherever they want to work or to play from wherever they want to work. So we'll see a real development in data storage outside of their core device. So what does that mean for some of the telco operators? These changes in devices and the usage means that telco operators need to kind of be much broader in terms of their range of devices that they're selecting or they're procuring for their business. The days of just mobile phone device are changing. We're already seeing tablets make a big entry into the telco space, but increasingly we see more connected netbooks and more connected laptops coming into this space too, as people get more familiar with using things across devices. Consumers are often driving some of this, so it's no longer business decisions that are making this. Bring your own device is gaining momentum in terms of people wanting to bring their own device and have the accessibility and usability they're used to at home in the workplace too. And of course that comes with a number of issues, security concerns and compliance issues that need to be managed in that environment. Operators have to deal with this over-the-top situation as well, is how do you monetize this business when other people are already trying to take that investment away from you? So managing that over-the-top infrastructure, working on new billing models, looking at freemium, looking at the way apps can generate revenue from stores is going to be a new way of kind of working in the telco space as we go forward. And importantly, the consumer cloud is also going to grow. In conjunction with the enterprise cloud, different requirements for both those two groups. But the ability, it will be the norm to expect that your data is available wherever you are and that it will self-populate the device in terms of what you want it to do. So some changes I'm sure we will see going forward. We believe at Microsoft that to be successful in that changing world, we have to protect the end user from that complexity. It's really proven that if you try and force that complexity onto the end user, you might get adoption by one or two of the super users. But quite reality, the majority of the population need to move en masse for adoption to happen. And to do that, you have to make it simple. You have to make it easy to access and hide the complexity, and it is complex, the cloud and the infrastructure behind it is very complex. You have to hide that complexity from the end user. So we really believe that to be able to connect screens, connect devices across multiple platforms, the cloud will be very important in that. And it will unify the end user across platforms. So I think I'm going to talk a little bit about the enterprise space and then perhaps move into sort of my perhaps more familiar space within consumer. In the cloud and the enterprise space, there are three things that are really driving this behavior. With cloud-based infrastructure, it allows you to be far more agile as an organization or a business, because instead of having to install software on individual machines in individual locations, you can change in one location the whole of your organization overnight. And that provides real agility in a marketplace which is moving so quickly. So some real benefits for organizations that are wanting to move fast and quickly to address business changes in their organization. And of course, that drives and delivers some better economics as well. There's also much more growing expectations from the workforce. The workforce are looking to work when they want to work, not constrained by their IT. They want to be able to log in when they need to log in. They want to be able to work when they want to work, and they want to take the time off when they want to take the time off. So to be able to access the corporate network at 3 o'clock in the morning is important for some people. Not all, I might add, but some people want to do that. And we all know that there are times when you want to do that and access from wherever you are to get the information you want and to have it available to you. So the expectations of that are important, and the cloud provides some of that capability without the requirement of having it fixed within your business. I hope that's a Windows phone. And importantly, this also provides, no it's not. Importantly, the cloud also provides great economics as well. So being able to centrally hold your data, to centrally manage some of that cost, means there are some efficiencies in terms of grouping applications and devices and servers together. But also, importantly, it allows you to track the cost of your usage more accurately. So you can accurately see who in your organization or business is using particular services, so you can then work out what that means to them. You can charge it out accurately rather than having to apply a fixed cost to every user in your infrastructure. So all good news from a business point of view for cloud. However, there are some obstacles to that. Security is a challenge for many institutions and for many governments. So where that data is held is really important. You want your data to be safe, secure, and held in a space which is not visible to attack or meets the regulations and compliance of data protection in that area. In the European Union, clearly we have some very strict data protection laws, and it's important that we manage those and that the contents and the data of your employees or your users is held in a way that is responsibly held and in compliance with the law. So that's an important element of it. But also important is the compatibility within businesses of being able to move and migrate from an existing infrastructure to a new one. You want the stuff that you've already got to work with the new stuff. And that might sound simple, but actually one of the biggest causes of failure in new IT implementations is the fact that the users just don't get how to migrate to that platform. So having compatibility in terms of your old files and new files is a really important part of that. So on that basis, we define the cloud very much about, both private and public. Three elements of cloud-based areas that we see. The private place where you are building and holding your information and servers within your own environment, be it within your own organization, within your own country, or within your own area. The public cloud clearly is held publicly, the data is held by somebody else, and you're managing and using their infrastructure to kind of access the data. At Microsoft, we believe that the best solution for businesses is to have a hybrid of that. To have a solution where the data that you want confidentially or from a compliance point of view has to be held in a private environment, whereas where there are other applications and areas where you can put that data into a public cloud. Mixing the best of both worlds there provides a great solution to organizations and allows them to meet the criteria and security elements that are important to the CIOs in those environments. And we believe that is the best solution. And I'm not going to try and pitch too much here, but I think we have a very strong suite of products that exist to give control and to give the best of both private to public. Brands like Azure, Intune, Office 365, Microsoft Dynamics all meet that public cloud environment. And in the private space, we have our Windows Server, System Center, SQL Server, MS Office, of course, and our Microsoft Dynamics Online. So these are all products that meet those criteria and manage to bridge that gap between private and public cloud and allow organizations to make the right choice depending on their needs and their requirements. But what is clear is that the cloud is gaining momentum, is growing fast, and in business it's going to be a very important decision that most CIOs are going to have to make in the next 18 months or so. So that's a kind of a brief kind of piece on enterprise and where I think enterprise is from a cloud point of view. But let me talk a little bit more about consumer. And I don't think there's not as much notes or commentary being written about the consumer cloud and how that's going to work. But what it clearly is happening is there is the convergence of devices, as I mentioned earlier, from phone through to large screen TV is happening at a rapid pace. And we're going to see that convergence speed up without doubt in the next 18 months. The ability for consumers to have the same user experience from their phone to their tablet, to their laptop, to their touch screen, to their kind of big desktop screen, to their TV, is going to be very easy to kind of allow people to integrate and manage that transition smoothly and in a combined way. And that will all be underpinned by cloud-based services which allow each of those devices to have the right information in the right place. So we're a big fan of this messaging. I see Apple have announced something quite similar yesterday, but we have been working on this for some time. And we believe that the changes in the announcement that we have already made and is out in market in a consumer preview position around Windows 8 will be the catalyst that makes this happen in the consumer market. So we are seeing Windows reimagined in this position where your phone, your PC, and your big screen will all come together with the same infrastructure, the same engagement, and allowing it to be connected through the cloud. And so Yeah, allow me a little time to talk about Windows 8 because it is a major milestone in Microsoft's history. It will fundamentally change the way we go to market and how we operate, both in business and in the consumer space. And it will change the dynamics of the PC market for good. You know, we will no longer just be a desktop or a laptop. We will be a multi-functional device across multiple screens, be it tablet, slate, whatever you want to call it, phone, and then ongoing into large screen technology. And let me just bring out a couple of points on this slide that I think are really important. You know, we've reimagined Windows. It will be very different to where it was previously. Apps will be a very big part of your desktop life now. They never were before. People are very familiar with them and used to them on the phone and tablets. But really, apps have not taken off in the desktop space. That will change dramatically at the end of this year, when apps become a key requirement and a key opportunity for you to access the web and access all the things that are important to you through an app, rather than necessarily through a browser. So we think that's going to be a fundamental change in the behavior. And if you're not developing apps for your business at the moment for Windows 8, then you should start now, because it's going to be a fundamental change for what we're going to do. Cloud connected. Windows 8 will be built around the cloud. So everything you do will make it easy to connect to the cloud, to be able to access your information, to share your information, and to post your information. It will be hyper-connected in terms of the internet and the cloud, and that's going to be a very important feature of it. And importantly, as I mentioned earlier, this is a platform that will work across platforms, across form factors. So that will be a critical part of making it easy for the consumer to engage with the device and to engage with it across multiple different platforms. You know, Windows Phone has been successful so far, but it's still relatively small in the total marketplace. This change to bringing the PC up to date will have a massive impact also on our phone business, which is why, you know, people are predicting kind of the share of Windows Phone will be significantly higher as we move into the next 12 months or so. So let me show you a video of it. So I hope you kind of get a sense that apps will be a very, very important part of how we bring Windows 8 to life. The store that we bring to that marketplace will be a huge opportunity for generating revenue for our partners in that area. But as I said, it's more than just Windows 8. SkyDrive is our application that is our cloud-based service, which is basically a free service, depending on the capacity you choose, that is accessible through your Microsoft ID. It works across platform, be it our platform or our competitor's platform. It allows you to store data in the cloud and access it from wherever you are, whatever you do. What we're doing with Windows 8 and with all of our devices, we're bringing that into making it kind of part of the experience. It's no longer a kind of, I have to find the app and do it. It's integrated into the software. So when you take a photograph on Windows Phone, it's automatically saved to your SkyDrive. You can set the limits on your SkyDrive and the access to it to make sure that your friends, your family, whoever you want to access it can do. It can be public, private, whatever you want to do. So that seamless integration of the cloud into the desktop programs will make a really big difference to the way consumers do things. And I've got a short video just to show you what that looks like. So we've really built SkyDrive into the whole experience, be it across phone or be it across our Windows 8 platform. But it goes beyond that. Last week we had E3, where Microsoft made some clear announcements at E3. E3 is the big entertainment conference in the US. And we see the entertainment now extending beyond just the TV, but extending into your tablets, into your PCs, into your phones. And one of the key things that came out of that, and I'll only focus on one thing here, is what we've called smart glass. So the ability to access the information you have, the entertainment you have, in any format, at any time, wherever you are. But importantly, to kind of keep track of where you've been in that process. So whether you're watching an episode of Game of Thrones and you're you're halfway through it, the cloud recognizes where you've got to in that process and allows you then to move on to a different device to watch it. So when you reconnect to your Live ID on a phone, it recognizes where you are watching it on a TV and then follows on with that messaging, or on a tablet, or on a PC, and so on, and so on, and so on. So this cloud enablement of entertainment, and be it video or be it games and everything, is going to be an absolute requirement and a desire by consumers to change this. And I just quickly indicate what that looks like from a family point of view.
Xbox, My Playlists, Chill Out Playlists. Play.
Time to go. Okay.
So we see this as approaching multiple screens in multiple environments with multiple users, and the ability to connect all of this is something that takes a huge amount of infrastructure development to make that happen. It is not something you don't get there easily. You have to have a long-term strategy to make this happen, and we're in a position now where we're just starting to bring that together, and you'll see it in market towards the end of the year. So we're very excited about that. I think Gartner made some comments about tablets not being a key opportunity. They got that very wrong from a Windows 8 point of view. Tablets will be a huge opportunity, and the tablet game has only just started. We see a huge amount of opportunity there. We see it both in the consumer space. Importantly, we also see it in the enterprise space, which is yet really to adapt tablets as a mainstream use of devices. Windows will provide a huge opportunity for the enterprise space and tablets. So I think just to kind of wrap up here, what are we going to see from the consumers of the future? People are going to be more connected, more personal. They're going to want things that are familiar to them. They're going to want their content as they get it. Many of you, I'm sure, have had the opportunity of kind of having to reinstall all your applications or your data onto a device at any point you do that. If everything's in the cloud, you type in your user ID, it all gets populated. That is a really simple user experience that some people will really desire. To have that all where you left off the last time you went to the device is a real excellent one. It's be alive and always up to date, so constantly aware of what's happening, where you are, people, places, location. All of that is kind of the sensors that are in devices now will give that information, allow you to be aware and up to date, and both connected at work and play. And I think some of the things that we need to consider as an industry is ensuring that the device portfolio that we have in the portfolios and the operators reflects that, be it in smartphones, tablets, or PCs. We have to remain open to new business models, because as we change, then the commercialization of these models becomes different. The old model doesn't work as well as it used to, so adapting to that change is really important. Cloud is going to get bigger. It's here now, it's here to stay, and it's going to get bigger and bigger. The infrastructure that's already invested in the servers that are managing that is there. We're now just populating it with the users. So that already exists, and it is growing at a rapid rate. From an operator point of view, the data traffic is going to increase massively. So having pipes and intelligent pipes that allow you to transfer that data in the most efficient way and at the most cost-effective way is going to be very important for operators in the future. And ultimately, this is being driven by consumers. Customers always want more. be it more bandwidth, be it more speed, be it more data. And they'll continue to want more and more, so it shouldn't surprise us. But importantly, they'll also want it at a lower cost. So we have to make sure that we can deliver this in a way that's efficient and exciting for them to enjoy the experience. So that was a brief overview. I think I'm kind of 3 minutes short of the time, and I wanted to get you away at 4 o'clock. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation. As I said, my name is Simon Ainslie at Microsoft.com. Please feel free to email me if you've got any questions. Thank you.